Kimmel has this sort of go for yourself style. Well, because kind of ironically, he celebrated in his monologue when Tucker Carlson got fired. It's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a problem that he, in his monologue, talked about how it was the right thing to fire Roseanne.
Yeah, I remember that.
A little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
A little bit of a problem. Also a problem that he thought the unvaccinated, he made a joke about the unvaccinated people shouldn't get hospital care if there's people who are vaccinated that need that room. I think the joke was, oh, vaccinated person who's had a heart attack, come right in here, sir. Unvaxxed person who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy. Like, that was the joke.
We got to talk about Jimmy Kimmel, because there is a lot of hypocrisy going on with this entire Jimmy Kimmel situation, and you just heard a bit of it there, right? Jimmy Kimmel crying about being suspended for a while. Meanwhile, he was celebrating other people being fired. It was fine when other people were being fired, but it's a horrible thing when he got suspended, right? Which he's back on air now. But I want to play a couple of clips and go over a couple of things. One being directly from YouTube itself that we just found out. Well, we kind of already knew, but now we really know. All right, check out this first clip from old Timmy, okay? And his hypocrisy.
And instead, we're banning comedians from being on TV, and then you put out garbage like that. I would hope that Americans would see beyond this. And it is encouraging to me, Chris, some of the clips you played of the conservative comedians and some of the conservative voices like Karl Rove, they get it, that this is North Korea style stuff. It has no place in America. And people need to make sure that if he gets away with this, man, Katie, bar the door. It's all open. Every one of those rights is then at risk.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, if he gets away with this. Oh. But it was fine when Tucker Carlson was fired. That was all fine and dandy. And, people like AOC were celebrating it. Went on live. I believe Instagram Live, and celebrated it. That's fine. Okay.
Our founders drafted the First Amendment specifically to protect the rights of citizens to criticize the government. When you cross that kind of societal norm, you must pay the consequence. And firing her was the right thing to do. I'm thrilled that ABC did it.
In 2018, she was fine with someone being fired for what they had to say, but now all of a sudden it's a problem. Check out what Jen Psaki had to say as well.
The news about Jimmy Kimmel, I think, is a pretty watershed moment. I think we all need to be talking about. We actually, and it's not just a media story. I know you agree with me on this. It's not just a media story. It's a democracy story. It's a freedom of speech story. It's so many things. We're regularly making sure social media platforms are aware of the latest narratives. You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others for providing misinformation out there.
Oh, so Jimmy Kimmel being suspended was a watershed moment. But according to Jen Psaki, just in 2021, okay, if you were spreading what is deemed as misinformation, not only should you be kicked off of one social media platform, but you should be kicked off of all of them. You see the hypocrisy here? I just had to call out the lying media and their BS because, of course, they're going to do that. Now, I want you guys to take a look at this, okay? This is from Representative Jim Jordan in Congress. Shout out to Jim Jordan. I would prefer him to be the Speaker of the House personally, but we're not going to dive into that conversation today. We're going to save that one, all right? We're going to table that conversation for another day. Check out what he had to say. He said, due to our oversight efforts, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube due to political speech violations to return to the platform. But that's not all. Okay? YouTube also admits the Biden administration censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. So the Biden administration was pressuring Google, okay, and YouTube to censor conservatives Where was the mainstream media outrage then? Where was Jen Psaki and the watershed moment then? Huh? Where was old Timmy, you know, in his, well, they can't get away with this. This is absolutely, this is absolutely crazy. Well, where was this then? Let's continue on. Confirms that the Biden administration wanted Americans censored for speech that did not violate YouTube's policies. So the Biden administration wanted to kick off people, even wanted YouTube to kick people off, even though it wasn't what people were saying or doing wasn't actually against YouTube's terms of service. But the Biden administration wanted them gone. But they always accuse us and the right and Trump of being dictators, of being authoritarians and fascists. But here you have it straight from Google, straight from YouTube. The Biden administration was pressuring us to ban people based upon speech that wasn't actually a violation of our terms of service. You see the hypocrisy here? Interesting. All right. Promises to never use third-party fact checkers, warns that Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech. Yeah, Europe is, they in some trouble. Boy, I tell you, Europe is in some major trouble. They are spinning down the toilet rather rapidly. Okay, rather rapidly. Hopefully, you know, they can find their Uncle Trump, right, overseas and start electing those types of folks so they can bring their countries back. But the way that I see Europe going right now, man, it may get ugly, real ugly. Maybe I'll make a video on that as well because, you know, it kind of ties into American politics as well, as you just saw there from Google. You know, Europe pressuring YouTube to, police certain things, but here in America, they're not allowed to police certain, you know what I mean? So like there's this push, this fight, right? But yeah, that's not all, guys. Check it out.
But the problem is when it gets political, okay? And that's what Eric Trump was saying here. So here's what happens, okay? You've got debanking. Fine. It could be good. It could be bad. It depends on why you do it. The problem, let me point you to it, is this one right here. Okay, so bank regulators now for several years have said, if a client gives you reputational risk, we're going to scrutinize you. Now, the question is, what does reputational risk mean? Well, it turns out it means whatever you want it to mean. And if you're Obama or Biden, it could mean conservative causes you don't like. But the problem is when it gets political.
Yeah. So not only were they attempting to ban us off social media and other platforms, but they were attempting to debank us. And we saw some people talk about being debanked, right? So this was happening all over the place.
They're afraid of the government is exactly what Donald Trump wants.
Who was silenced? Nobody's silenced. We're not.
Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. You have universities afraid to speak their mind. You have research being completely
we talk
defunded.
about the blue and the red division. Every single one of the reasons why the FCC has a role is because these are broadcast stations with a monopoly that was granted by the government.
Do you feel good about?
No, and I would hate it if the federal government came in and said, you may not say that. The reason why Jimmy Kimmel got himself into the first place is he was repeating a lie believed by 1 in 3 Democrats that the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk
He did not
had
say that.
right of center beliefs.
He did not say that.
We can parse his verbiage all day long. If he comes out and says, listen, that was not what I was trying to say, thank you, fantastic. I appreciate that, Mr. Kimmel. The problem is that is believed. And we have spent way more time treating Jimmy Kimmel as a victim than the person who was shot and killed in front of their wife and children.
Let me ask you a question. If Joe Biden took down a prominent right-wing personality on TV for what he or she said, would you endorse that?
You're hypothetical.
It wasn't Trump that took off Jimmy Kimmel. It was a private company who made a decision. Trump does not own the company. I'm sure he wishes he did, right? Disney, listen, hey, for all I disagree with Disney, you know, hey, owning that kind of conglomerate, boy, that's a lot of cash. And, you know, I think I can make some improvements to making some more cash. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It wasn't Trump's decision. Trump can make his statement as presidents have in the past and other political figures have in the past. But that doesn't mean he's the one that fired him. You know, it's interesting how people on the left continue to blame Trump for stuff that he's not actually involved in. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't Trump at all. And then he wants to go into, well, what would you care if Joe Biden did? Joe Biden did do it. YouTube admitted it. The Biden administration pressured them to censor conservatives. That's been admitted already. So, like, what are we talking about here? This isn't speculation. This isn't like, yeah, I see a lot of conservatives being censored, man. Something's going on here. I think the Biden administration is doing something. Like, no, we don't think. We know. They told us. This is what was happening. But, of course, you know, these folks on CNN are going to skip over that.
If the Biden administration went and jawboned, let's say, social media platforms.
I'm talking about a similar allegory of someone on TV
hundreds of conservatives.
Will you answer my question?
No, that is literally what the administration that you served did. Google just released
a broadcast
all of
TV
the
host
components.
taken down for words that they say or intimidated on. I will not approve
in the
your merger.
history of
as
the
a result.
FCC, they have done that plenty of times on the right.
Was the
There's a
FCC chair
reason
saying we're going
why.
to do this the easy way or the hard way, like a mobster?
Your
Were they?
administration
Were they?
deplatformed and kicked off of social media. You want to talk about actually silencing? Having any single public outlet that you have unallowed to broadcast something, right? Jimmy Kimmel could go on MSNBC tomorrow. He's going back on ABC tonight. This man has not been silenced. Charlie Kirk's been silenced because he's dead. A lot of conservatives were silenced on social media platforms because the government threatened those social media companies. Facebook, Google, Twitter. You can go down all the list. YouTube, again, just acknowledged to Congress today that they did that at the behest of the Biden administration.
So do you endorse what happened to Jimmy Kimmel?
No, I don't. But I don't care about Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh boy, yeah, they gonna skip over that one. He didn't want to acknowledge what happened with Google. Notice that. Oh, so you what about Jimmy Kimmel? He just completely skipped over that fact, right? Just completely skipped over it. I love it, right? Dancing around because he knows that was the truth and he couldn't refute it. He could not refute it. It's an absolute shame, man. Absolute shame. Shame. And it shows that, you know, their ideas don't stand up to scrutiny. When you have to try to silence someone, and I said this when Charlie Kirk passed away, God rest his soul. I said, if you have to silence someone, right, it doesn't prove that you were right. It actually proves that you were wrong. And you couldn't prove the other person, right? You couldn't debate the other person. Because Charlie Kirk, I mean, literally said, prove me wrong, right above his head. Prove me wrong. Anybody and everybody could have walked up there with their phone, with their notes, ready to go, ready to prove him wrong. Like, hey, yo, see, look, here's the information here, blah, 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 blah. Nobody could do it. So you had to silence him. Proved him right. He was right. You were wrong, and you knew it. You couldn't defeat him with words, so you had to defeat him with a bullet. It's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. But y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions about all this. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.